How we doing? How we doing? How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 139 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Velez Wasa. Yes, sir. Week 2, NFL. Week 3, college. We're going to talk about all that. But what we first got to talk about is Formula 1, NASCAR. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're new. Follow me on all my socials. Comment. That would be greatly appreciated if you commented. I got a couple things to say about a couple of teams, but we're gonna get to that. Let's start off by Baku Grand Prix. Pretty exciting, especially with the Oscar Piastri, Leclerc battle for the win there at the end. Like I said before, in last week's episode, I said that this is a track where, probably you're going to see some shakeup of like the normal Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, regulars. And that's exactly what happened. In qualifying, Leclerc got his third straight pole at Baku in Azerbaijan. Never turned one into a win. Still hasn't turned one into a win from the pole position. And then Oscar Piastri got second. Norris was, I believe, fourth. I mean, like, when you look at even the qualifying starting spots, I mean, Lewis Hamilton, I believe he had to do something to his car. He started 17th. You saw, Checo was up there. Checo was in the top 3. Verstappen was fourth, I believe. 4th or 5th. Same with Norris. Russell was like 7th. So, like, even qualifying was basically like, oh, well, we'll see what happens. In the race, it started with Leclerc. He got the jump. He took turn 1. And it's a very technical, rhythmic type of, there's only 2 DRS zones, and they're both on complete straightaways. One is a 2.2 kilometer straightaway. But the DRS zone is a little later after that. So like maybe like 800 kilometers, 800 meters long, about or 1.5 kilometers long, something like that. It's a long DRS zone. The problem is that coming off the last corner, you have to be literally 4/10 back. You cannot be more than 4/10 back because the stream, it becomes turbulent when you're back there too long coming off the corner. Traction's bad. So it was a little battle with the tires there. They went hard, then they went mediums. Leclerc built a nice tire delta, so a nice tire difference between who was behind. But then Oscar had a great pit stop, and basically almost outjumped. Actually, he did outjump him. And when they cycled back through, Oscar was first, and then Leclerc was first, and then Oscar ran him down, passed him, and won the race. Second race for Oscar Piastri that he wins, second this year as well. Checo finished. So in the last 2 laps of the race, Carlos Sainz came up from 4th and caught up to Checo, caught up to Leclerc, caught up to Piastri. In the last few laps, Piastri started pulling away in the last 3 laps. He started pulling away, built like a 2.3 second gap, and he basically secured the win for himself. But he was battling with Leclerc the whole time. We're talking about tenths, like in and out of the corner, 10th. Like it was nip and tuck for about 30 laps. But then Checo, out of nowhere, his tires went out. His tires gave up. So when Checo's tires give up, Sainz is coming up behind him, and he catches him. And when he's going for third with 2 laps left, they're side by side, coming off of turn 1, and Checo, like, he thought he still had some room. And if you see on the replay, like, nobody really moved there. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't directed at the driver. It's just one driver was coming to one point, another driver came to that point, and the back tire, the front left of Checo hit. The front right of Checo hit Sainz while he was passing him for third, and then just turned them both into the wall, leading to who got second? Leclerc got second, and then Russell got third. And then Norris battled his way all the way to 4th or 5th, from 11th, I think. And Lewis even managed to get 7th from 17th. So it was a really nice Grand Prix. The lead for Verstappen in the Drivers' Championships really didn't change because they were so close. Norris and him were so close. They were literally back behind each other. Norris passed them, so there was like a little 3-point change there. But other than that, like, nothing of that sort got touched. What did get touched was the battle for second for the Constructors' Championships. Even though Ferrari has a shot now to get first, they're pretty close with McLaren, but McLaren is extremely tight with Red Bull. All right, on the NASCAR side, Chris Buescher wins at Watkins Glen in another thriller. I said that SVG was going to be strong. SVG was strong, but we had more crashes by playoff contenders. Denny Hamlin got into a crash. Multiple people. William Byron got into a bad crash. Keselowski got into a crash. Like, a lot of playoff hopefuls, and good drivers too. Kyle Busch spun a couple times, hit the wall. Denny was probably the most bad one because, in the playoffs, it's not about what you did in the regular season. You could have 6 wins in the regular season. There was a year where Kyle Busch had 18 wins. Didn't win the championship. So, it's about how good do you run and how is Lady Luck treating you in these 10 races when you're in the countdown. So, Chris Buescher won another Ford. Like I said, the Fords were sneaky. He passed SVG in a beautiful maneuver coming out of with 3 turns to go. Passed him. SGG couldn't get back to him. Almost wrecked trying to get back to him on the last corner. And Buescher gets the win. It's very interesting because when you look at the ending order, you're like, okay, so who moved on? Like, who moves on? In the standings, it's Christopher Bell, Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, Reddick, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. Larson is 9, so he made it in. Briscoe's 11. Gibbs is 12. You got Hamlin at 13. That's scary because the next cut down is to 12. You have Keselowski at 14, Truex, and Harrison Burt. So Bell had a crash as well. He crashed, but it looks like it didn't affect him that much. But Cindric is only three points behind. Logano's only 5. Bowman's only 5. Reddick's 16. So there's still a long way to go. And next we go to get you that up right now. We go to Bristol. We go to a classic NASCAR track where Dirt Kings, Kyle Larson, the Kyle Bushes, the guys that ran Dirt, Christopher Bell, the guys that ran Dirt Track, are really going to have an advantage. Brakes are used a lot of shifting, short. I mean, it's 1 mile and that's it. But it's a brutal racetrack, a lot of bumps, a lot of beating and banging. It's going to be fun for the round 3 of the playoffs. All right, let's get into the NFL. Actually, let's go in NCAA real quick. Okay. Bama beat Wisconsin. We knew that was going to happen. Okay, we called that. Oklahoma State beat Tulsa. We called that. LSU beat South Carolina 36-33 in a really close game and an exciting game. We said South Carolina, but we also said that LSU could possibly win. Shout out to LSU. Michigan beats Arkansas State 28-18, so it's still not an orgy. Got after the game got named the starter going forward. He can't throw, he can run. So I guess it's just going to be like shoelaces Denard Robinson in the backfield, I guess. Missouri beats number 6 Missouri beats number 24 Boston College 27-21 in a really good game. Oregon destroys Oregon State, which is what they should have done, 49-14. They finally show that what we were waiting for. Dylan Gabriel went 20 for 24, 291, QBR of 99.3. They ran the ball pretty well. They ran the ball for 32 carries, 240 yards. Jordan James had 12 for 86. And then you also had Tez Johnson went 7 catches for 110 yards. So their weapons did well. So this is a good pick-me-up game, 3-0, but getting ready for that Big Ten schedule. So, get it out of the way now, Oklahoma beats Tulane 34-19. They should. Notre Dame beats Purdue 66-7. Thank God, because it would have been really embarrassing if you got beat by Purdue, by the Boilermakers. Utah beats Utah State 38-21. We expected that. Miami destroys Ball State, like we said, 62-0. I think that's literally what I might have said. I think I said like, oh, it's going to be 45-0 at halftime. 62-0, 364 yards by Cam Ward. Him and Quinn Ewers are leading the Heisman race right now. Texas destroys UTSA 56-7. Archie Manning made an appearance. He played well too. Archie played well too. Archie went 9 for 12 for 223 in the second half when he played, 4 touchdowns. Quinn Ewers went 14 for 16, 185. Jarek Gibson, the running back, went 13 for 75 yards. And then Ryan Wingo caught 3 for 127. Isaiah Bond caught 5 for 103 and 2 touchdowns. Wingo caught another touchdown. Wingo caught a touchdown, and then DeAndre Moore also caught a touchdown for them. He passed for 427 yards. So Texas, to me, is the number 1 team in the country because Georgia and Kentucky went down to the wire 13-12. Okay? 13-12. This is Georgia. This is what happened. Carson went 15 for 24 for 160 yards. Trevor Etienne went 19 for 79 on the ground. Dominic Levet caught 6 passes for 89 yards. That was their offense. Now, Kentucky didn't do a lot better either. Brock McGriff went 114 yards, 14 for 27. They ran the ball for 170 yards. Demi Sumo Carnbaye. His name is weird. He went 22 for 98. And then they didn't pass the ball much. Obviously, he passed the ball for 114 yards. But Georgia survives. Will they get better? We shall see. Nebraska destroyed Northern Iowa. They should have with Raiola. Tennessee annihilates Kent State 71-0. Nico went dummy. He went 10 for 16 for a grand total of 173 yards because they played 3 quarterbacks. Nico threw 1 touchdown. Deshaun Bishop ran for 7 carries for 120 yards. Dylan Sampson ran for 13 carries for 101 and 4 touchdowns. And Peyton Lewis went 10 for 99. So everybody was running the ball. They ran the ball for 456 yards. Holy shit. They didn't pass the ball much. 284 yards between 3 quarterbacks. So it was the running game. Kansas State beats Arizona. We expected that as well. If we look at the non-top 25, the non-top 25, we get to Illinois beats Central Michigan. Memphis beats Florida State. This team is awful. 0-3 for FSU after going undefeated last year. Absolute travesty. That is incredible. DJU. That's what happens. NC State beats Louisiana Tech. Cincinnati beats Miami of Ohio. Texas Tech beats North Texas. Let's see, anything else? Texas A&M beats Florida. We called that. We knew that was going to happen. Listen, Mertz, Lagway, none of that works. Our defense doesn't work. Nothing works. Okay? Nothing works. We love getting quarterbacks that can run and not pass. I don't understand why this has been a trademark of Gator football since Tim Tebow. Chris Leak was the last guy that could actually pass in this to go to this school. I don't want to hear about Felipe Franks. He didn't do much. Like, none of them did nothing. Tim Tebow was the last one to win a championship. That was 2008. We're in 2024. We're bad this year. Michigan State beats Prairie View. I hope you did. Minnesota beats Nevada. Washington State beats the national championship runner-up from last year, Washington. You lose Kalen DeBoer and Michael Penix and Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan and Roma Dunze and Johnson and Olifucio and Trice and Fautanu. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. When you lose all your talent, that's what happens. That's tough for them. They're not even ranked. That's tough. Georgia Tech beats VMI, of course. Pitt beats West Virginia 38-34 in a thriller. Iowa puts 38 on Troy. Thank God. They can still score. App State beats East Carolina. Utah beats Utah State 38-21. Duke beats UConn. North Carolina beats NC Central. What else? I think that's it. I believe. Oh, Colorado beats Colorado State 28-9. Shador goes for 36 of 49 for 310, 4 touchdowns. They still can't run the ball. They ran it for 109 yards. And Travis went 13 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns and a long of 21. LeJontay Wester went 5 catches for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that was pretty much it. That was the 300. That was basically that was 180 yards of the 310. And then Will Shepard and Jimmy Horn, Isaiah Augustave, Savell Smalls, Terrell Timmons. Those were all the people that sprinkled in some stuff. Well, they're 2-1. So the season's not completely over. But they got teams coming, so we shall see. UCF beats TCU by 1, 35-34. FAU beats FIU, unfortunately, 38-20. FIU sucks. Maryland beats Virginia 27-13. BYU beats Wyoming 34-14. California beats San Diego State 31-10. Fresno State beats New Mexico State 48-0. And Kansas loses to UNLV in last Friday. That was unfortunate. All right, let's get to football. Okay? All right. So, one thing about this week was upset central. Okay? Upset central. We went, without counting today's game, which I'm going with the Eagles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losses this week. 8 losses. Boy, that's not good. We're going to break them down. Starting with Bills-Dolphins. 31-10, Bills. Tua Tagovailoa is probably done for the season. He's not retiring. He said he's not retiring. Listen, the hit wasn't that bad, and it caused a concussion and fencing. I know that he wants to play football. I know that he just signed this big deal, and, he wants to live up to it and make his family proud and his name proud. But, man, bro, that's 4 concussions since 2019, 3 concussions since 2022. I think it's time to have that conversation. Because there is no way that you can go out there, and you had a special helmet. But there's no way that you can go out there and not think that somehow, some way, you're going to get hit again. You could have slid. You didn't. You could have, but you didn't. Why you didn't you? Plain and simple. It was 4th down. And I get it. And it was karma. It was kind of, ironic, because the guy that was literally dead on a field just 2 years ago in Damar Hamlin is the guy who you hit and knocked out the game. Then came in Skylar Thompson. But by that time, the game was over. We couldn't establish nothing. Our timing was off. We gave the ball to Achane all we could. I mean, the Bills went 13 for 19, 139 on the air by Josh Allen, and 1 touchdown. Nothing crazy, but, QBR of 78.9, 107.1 rating. James Cook, though, went 11 carries for 78 yards and 2 tuds, including a 49-yarder. That just looked like he was Dalvin at home. He's from there. Khalil Shakir caught 5 balls for 54 yards and a long of 21. So in reality, 4 balls for a lot of nothing. Ty Johnson caught a ball for 33 yards. Dalton Kincaid caught 4 targets for Dalton Kincaid for 33 yards. Wow. James Cook, he caught a touchdown as well for 17 yards. His only catch. The defense played well. Von Miller got a sack. Who else got a sack? Ed Oliver got a sack. Yeah, I mean, the defense was humming. They got Tua threw a Will Levis ass pass that got intercepted and returned for a touchdown right at the beginning of the third quarter when we were like, we could still be in the game. And that ended the game. And then to add matter to injury, he gets a concussion. His season's probably over. They say that he wants to come back, but I think the season's probably over. And I know the Dolphins' season's over. We just picked up Snoop Hundley today. What is he gonna? Better than Sky. Former Pro Bowler. Better than Skylar Thompson. But if we don't have anybody to throw to Reek, we got a problem. If you can't throw to Reek or Waddle, we got a problem. So we'll see what Snoop does. Tua went 17 for 25, 145 anyway. That's 5.8 yards a carry. That's nothing. We were throwing screen passes left and right. 3 picks, 1 touchdown. Highly unfortunate, but that's what we got. That's what we got. That was our team this year. That was it. We saw one game of our team this year. Because this game, no, we're going to do nothing. Nothing. You talk about a QBR of 17.8. A rating of 56.7. Skylar Thompson came in 8 of 14 for 80 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. So he didn't throw picks. But Devon Achane, 22 carries, 96 yards. And Devon Achane, 7 catches for 69 yards. And a touchdown. He had a receiving touchdown, not a running touchdown. And then Jonnu Smith, 6 for 53. Jalen Waddle, 4 for 41. Tyreek Hill, 3 for 24 on 6 targets. Houston or Miami, 305. We got a problem. That is not what we like to see down here in the MIA. That is not good. Bills still dominate the Dolphins, and looking at it now, the Bills might be the only team from the AFC East who go to the playoffs. Because I still don't believe in the Patriots. I damn sure still don't believe in the Jets. I at all. Okay? At all. Why? Very simple. I don't see any type of elite production from any of those teams. Elite production. We're talking about like what Josh Allen can do. I haven't seen it. At all. Okay? At all. So, let's just forget about that game. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing before the injury, and that was just deflating after the injury. Okay? Chargers Panthers. As we expected, 26-23. Panthers are legit one of the worst teams I've ever seen in my life. The lack of talent is astonishing, even though there's some names on there. The lack of offensive execution is atrocious. And the defense, once Brian Burns left that team, the soul went with them. That defense is nowhere to be found. Okay? J.C. Horn is a top 10 pick getting cooked. Play after play, cooked. It is not good in Carolina. Now, for the Chargers, this is a very different Chargers team. Back in the day, with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, you used to, with Eckler, a lot of passing, big yardage. Nope. This is a classic Harbaugh team. 14 out of 20, 130 yards, a touchdown and a pick for Herbert, 87.9 QBR, 100 rating. J.K. Dobbins, 17 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown long of 43 where they couldn't catch him. He's back. It took him 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, but the guy that came out of Ohio State and he was going to be the next one is back healthy from a knee injury and Achilles, and now he's back at full speed, full strength, and it's beautiful to see. Beautiful to see. Super happy for him. Gus Edwards gave you 59 on 18 carries. They ran the ball for 219 yards on 44 carries, so hardball offense. And then Quentin Johnson made an appearance on 6 targets. He caught 5 balls for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns. One touchdown was super open. The other touchdown was pretty nice. Will Disley, the tight end, went 3 for 29 on 3 targets. Ladd McConkey went 2 for 26 on 4 targets. Joshua Palmer went 2 for 19 on 2 targets. This is going to be the Chargers until they don't have to be this. This is going to be the Chargers until they get that receiving core caught up to the running game. Once that merge happens, which should be around week 6, week 7, week 8, once that merge happens, it can happen quicker or not happen at all. If that merge happens, so let me put it like this. If that merge happens, this is going to be a very, very dangerous team because that defense still has Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Asante Samuel Jr., Derwin James. Like, this defense is still a legit defense. Okay? Now, if we want to go to the Panthers, I mean, it is not pretty. It is Bryce Young, 18 for 26, 84 yards, a pick, 2 sacks for minus 15 yards, a QBR of an astounding 6.4, a rating of 57.2. Chuba Hubbard ran the ball for 64 yards on 10 carries. And 1 carry was 23 yards. So, in reality, he ran for nothing. Miles Sanders went 7 for 20. Tommy Tremble caught 3 balls for 23 yards. Adam Thielen went 2 for 20. Deontay Johnson went 3 for 15. This is bad. Bad all around. You know what they just did? The Panthers just benched Bryce Young. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, which is like 15 years in the league at this point. Former Bengal great. Is gonna suit up as a starter for week 3. And boy, I don't know if it's gonna get any better. Maybe some more completions. But I don't know it gets any better on defense for damn sure. Probably doesn't get better. And on the offensive side, somebody has to step up. Deontay Johnson might be step up. He might be a good play for fantasy this week just as a flyer, maybe a flex. But I wouldn't bet on it. Xavier Legette's nowhere to be found. I don't even think he got targeted. Xavier Legette. Not targeted. At all. He's not even here. Not targeted. Wow. Just abysmal football team. Abysmal. Raiders beat the Ravens at home. Got to give a round of applause for that. Nobody saw this coming. This was the lock of the week. And the Raiders beat the Ravens at home on a last second field goal. Gardner Minshew, 30 for 38, 276 yards, 5 sacks for minus 43 yards. They still won. A touchdown and interception. QBR of 51.4, rating of 94.7. Zamir White, 9 carries for 24 yards. They ran the ball 17 times for a grand total of 27 yards. Remember, they won the game. We're going to speak about the Ravens. Okay? Receiving, Devontae Adams, 9 for 110. Same Devontae. And a touchdown. Beautiful touchdown, too. Just inside move. Classic, like a him and Aaron play, basically. He had 12 targets, so they looked for him. Brock Bowers, 9 for 98 on 9 targets. Yeah. He's exactly who we thought he was. That's why I drafted him. Jacoby Myers went 4 for 29. Pretty much it. But why? Why did the Ravens lose? Plain and simple. Gardner Minshew even fumbled. Okay? But Spillane got 10 tackles, 8 solos. Crosby got 2 sacks and 4 TFLs. And Robert Spillane got an interception. So let's go to the other side. What happened to the Ravens? Lamar, 21 for 34 for 247 yards, a touchdown and a pick. 2 sacks for minus 15 yards, a QBR of 52.7 and a rating of 81.4, so none of them good. Derrick Henry, 18 for 84 and a long of 29. They ran the ball for 151 yards, 27 carries. Lamar ran for 45 yards on 5 carries. Zay Flowers, 7 catches on 91 yards and a touchdown on 11 targets. Number 1 receiver stuff. Mark Andrews, 4 for 51 on 5 targets. Rashad Bateman, 3 for 40 on 4 targets. Isaiah Likely, 2 for 26 on 3 targets. So what was the problem? The defense was the problem, even though Roquan got 11 total tackles and Marlon Humphrey got 11 total tackles. And Marlon Humphrey even got a pick. You had Odafe Owe with 2.5 sacks. Michael Pierce with half a sack. You have 5 sacks as a team. 2 for Kyle Van Noy after fracturing his orbital bone. So why are the Ravens 0-2? The fourth quarter. That was it. The fourth quarter. The Raiders could make plays and move the ball down the field, and the Ravens threw incompletions. The Ravens couldn't run the ball, wouldn't give it to Derrick Henry, missed a couple throws to Zay Flowers, missed a throw to Rashad Bateman, some drop passes, and that's what encompasses the Ravens' afternoon at home. They took that L to the Raiders. First upset of the day. A really big one. Really big one. Okay? This was a win, a definite winnable game, and you shouldn't have allowed 26 points to Gardner Minshew. You shouldn't. Shouldn't happen. At home. The loss of Patrick Queen is felt. Definitely felt. The loss of JK is felt a little bit because you're still not handing the ball to Derrick Henry in the fourth when he gets rolling. You're scared of it. You're scared of getting stopped. The offensive line's not doing its full job. And got to hand it to the Raiders, man. That defense came out to play. That defense came out to play. Gotta hand it to him. Good win for Antonio Pierce and the Raiders. Gardner Minshew beats Lamar Jackson. That's ridiculous. Browns beat the Jaguars. Now, we knew this could happen. We picked the Jags. We knew this could happen. Deshaun went 22 for 34, 186 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 2 sacks for 14 yards, 42.4 QBR, and a 78.8 rating. So how did they win? They ran the ball for 125 yards and 29 carries. Jerome Ford went 7 for 64. Dante Foreman carried the ball 14 times for 44 yards. Deshaun Watson ran the ball for a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy caught 5 for 73. Elijah Moore went 6 for 44. David Bell went 3 for 27. Amari Cooper went 3 for 11 on 8 targets. He got 8 targets, caught 3 of them. So how did they win the game? The same reason I told you that they should have won last week. That defense. JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, 7 total tackles. Jordan Hicks, sack. Myles Garrett, sack. Alex Wright, sack. Quentin Jefferson, sack. That's what happened. The Jaguars couldn't move the ball. 14 of 30 for Trevor Lawrence, 220 yards. 4 sacks for minus 24 yards. 54.5 QBR, 71.5 rating. Travis Etienne, 13 for 52 and a touchdown. That's nothing. They ran the ball for 127 yards on 21 carries. They let that thing go. They didn't want to run the ball. They didn't want to try. Brian Thomas Jr., 2 catches, 94 yards, along of 66. So the kid keeps on 4 targets. So the kid keeps being explosive even on limited volume. Brenton Strange, I don't even know who that is. 3 for 65. Gabe Davis, 3 for 43. I think he got hurt, but I think he came back into the game. Christian Kirk, 3 targets, 1 catch, -1 yard. They just bottled him up. The defense got 2 sacks, but this was just called a defensive stand by the Browns. There was no touchdowns in this game, besides Deshaun's. It was just field goals. Field goal. Field goal, field goal, and then 1 touchdown each team. That's it. 18-13 was your final score. Not a very football-y score there, but you know, the Browns are 1-1, still afloat. Jets beat the Titans. We expected this. But boy, did we expect Will Levis to do another Will Levis throw. Woo! Man. Winning the game 7-0 in your own 10, you know, inside your own 10-yard line. Hoping to go up 14, at least 10-0. You do a backwards pass while you're falling down again. Fumble, no points. And then Aaron Rodgers finally finds a little rhythm. Finds a little rhythm with Breece Hall. Finds a little rhythm with Garrett Wilson. Finds a little rhythm with Braden Allen. You know. And gets it done. The defense holds up the rest of the game. And because of one mistake, you lose 2 games. The same mistake twice, 2 games in a row makes you be 0-2 instead of 2-0. That's why people say Will Levis can't play. It's just like Carson Wentz. You got the spectacular because some of his throws are really nice, long, accurate. You know what I'm saying? But boy, man, the miscues and the bad decisions are horrendous. Horrid. Abysmal. Inexcusable, inexplainable. Like, there's no need. You have D-Hop and you have Calvin Ridley. There you even have Tony Pollard. There is no need. Take the sack. You're right there. Hopefully he learns. His coach told him. His coach said it's like, we can't do this. This is 2 weeks in a row. Same damn play. Cannot do that. He has to understand that. I agree. If not, he's going to get benched. If we go through the stats. Aaron Rodgers. 18 for 30. 176. Not too much. 2 TDs. 2 sacks for 12 yards. 46.3 QBR. 98.7 rating. Breece Hall, 14 for 62. So not a lot, especially along of 30. So that means you take off that 30. That's 32 yards on 13 carries. That is no good. So they still can't run the ball. That Tennessee Titans defensive line is legit with Tavondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons and Sebastian Joseph Day. Braden Allen went 7 for 33 and a long of 20 with a touchdown. The one that put away the game. Garrett Wilson went 4 for 57 on 6 targets, so not a lot. Still hasn't woken up yet. Breece Hall caught 7 balls for 52 yards and a touchdown. A beautiful touchdown on 8 targets, so I like the balance with Breece Hall. Braylon Allen went 2 for 23 and a touchdown. Mike Williams with 1 for 19. One target. Alan Lazard, 2 for 11 on 4 targets. Malachi Corley, the rookie, 4 yards on 1 catch on 1 target. Yeah, the defense did its job. You had Sherwood with 12 tackles, 8 solos. You had Will McDonald finally woken up. 3 sacks for Will McDonald out of Minnesota, second-year player. Yes, Solomon Thomas, former 49er with the sack. And that was it. They Brandon Eccles with an interception. Yeah, Quinnen Williams recover a fumble. Just the defense, man. What the defense can do with this for this team if the team can just score an adequate amount of points. Adequate. 24 is adequate. Will Levis, 19 for 28, 192, a touchdown and a pick. The touchdown to Calvin Ridley, I believe. 4 sacks for 22 yards. A QBR of 37.9. A rating of 84.2. Tony Pollard went 17 for 62, so nothing. Calvin Ridley went 4 for 77 on 7 targets and a touchdown. Tony Pollard caught 5 for 40 on 6, so that's good for you fantasy guys. Tyler Boyd, 2 for 26. Chigakonkwo, 3 for 16. DeAndre Hopkins, 1 for 9 on 2 targets. And Traylon Burks, 1 target, 0 catches, 0 yards. Fumble by Will Levis. Lost it, of course. The defense played pretty well. Harold Landry got 2 sacks. They played pretty well, but it just couldn't hold up. And, rightfully so, man. I mean, you can only hold up so long. And instead of being up 14-0, kicking the ball to them early in the first half and dominating the game, you do that one mistake and you get got by Aaron Rodgers. And not very good. It's literally Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson and pray. That's really it. It's nothing else. So, sorry, Tyler. Gotta survive one more week. Another upset. 49ers lose to the Vikings in Minnesota. 23-17 in a game that, frankly, I could have seen coming if I had enough belief in the Sam Darnold KOC, in the Sam Darnold and KOC combination. But boy, it was nice to watch. Now, Brock Purdy went 28 for 36, so efficient. 319 yards, a touchdown and a pick, 6 sacks for 22 yards, 46.1 QBR, a 101.3 rating. Jordan Mason went 20 carries for 100 yards. Deebo Samuel went 8 catches for 110 yards on 10 targets. George Kittle went 7 for 76 on 8 targets and a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk went 4 for 43. Jawan Jennings went 2 for 37. So what happened? What happened was Brock Purdy fumble. Lost. Jordan Mason fumble. He recovered it. Jacob Cowing fumble. Doesn't say lost or recovered. I don't know. And then Isaac Yiadom recovered 2 fumbles for the 49ers. Fred Warner had 9 tackles. You had Nick Bosa with 2 sacks. You had Kevin Givens with a sack. 4 sacks in total, so I'm missing 1. Oh, Fred Warner had a sack. Fred Warner also had a nasty pick. Nasty. And still they lost. Sam Darnold went 17 for 26, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 3 sacks for 10 yards, 62.9 QBR, 109.1 rating. Ty Chandler went 10 for 82. So it wasn't even Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones went 9 for 32. Ty went 10 carries for 82 yards. Justin Jefferson, though, he finally woke up. 4 for 133, left the game. He's going to be fine, though. Quad contusion. Caught a touchdown of 97 yards. Caught it, slowed down, juked the safety, and just ran to the end zone. Everybody's talking about the ref on that play because he ran really fast and also flipped his hips really smooth like a corner would when he reached the end zone, then gave the touchdown sign. Justin Jefferson, 4 for 133. That's what we expect from him on 7 targets. Jalen Naylor, 3 for 54 and a touchdown on 4 targets. Aaron Jones, 5 for 36 on 6 targets. Trent Sherfield, 1 for 17 on 2 targets. And this is without Jordan Mason and without Jordan Addison and without TJ Hawkinson. Impressive. Sam Darnold, 2 fumbles. He lost 1. Aaron Jones, fumble, lost it. Jihad Ward recovered a fumble. Their defense, Blake Cashman, 13 total tackles. And then he also had a sack. And then Pat Jones the second had 2 sacks. Van Ginkel had a sack. Jonathan Grenard had a sack. So, and then they had 1 team sack, which means like 2-3 people are there at the same time. 6 sacks in total. An interception by Josh Metellus. They didn't outplay the 49ers. They outlasted the 49ers. 2 different things. 49ers ran on them and everything, but the 49ers went 1 for 8 in the red zone. That's called bend, don't break. That's exactly what Brian Flores does. That's what he did with Miami. That's what he's done his whole career. Bend, don't break. Once you get to the inside the 30, inside the 20, all right, now the defense, this is where the defense steps up. And what did Brock Purdy say to Brian Flores after the game? Damn, your scheme is crazy. You can run and pass and amount stats all you want against this defense from 20 to 20. But once you get into that red zone, that golden area where people make money, Brian Flores says, nah. I got things on my sleeve for that one. So that's what happens. Skull chants. But this is concerning for the 49ers. No CMC. CMC going on IR with Achilles tendonitis. Might be gone 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That is very, very tough for a team, even though they got Jordan Mason. But CMC is the core of that offense and why that offense is so, so good. Now, I'm not worried about him, but I would raise a notice with the 49ers. And for the Minnesota Vikings, you're 2-0. You're 2-0 in the NFC North. Now, the Packers we'll get to them. They're 1-1. I don't know how they pulled that off. We'll examine that one shortly. But in the NFC North, where the Bears are 0-2, the Packers are 1-1, the Lions are 1-1. You're 2-0 with Sam Darnold, a.k.a. the man that used to see ghost. That's what KOC does. That's what a quarterback whisperer does. That's what a good team offensively does. This defense is playing its ass off, though. Dallas Turner, Harry Hitman still out there. They're playing their ass off for sure. Okay? Seahawks beat the Patriots. We expected this, but boy, was it close. 23-20. Jason Myers in overtime. This Patriots defense is legit. Now, I don't know how they'll do against those big teams. I don't know how they'll do defensively against those teams that really, really are talented everywhere. But against the Seahawks team, who has pretty good talent, they held them to 23 points. Geno went 33 for 44, so pretty efficient. 327, a touchdown, no picks. Three sacks for 15 yards, 72.8 QBR, 103.1 passer rating. Zach Charbonnet went 14 for 38 and a touchdown. No K-Walk this game. He was hurt. DK went 10 for 129 and a touchdown on 14 targets. What did I say before this game? Last week, I literally said there is no way that the Patriots will cover these three receivers. They couldn't cover two of them. I knew that there was going to be two holes somewhere. But, man, to be the receiver that was being covered by Christian Gonzalez, that's not good. 10 for 29, a touchdown, along of 56 for DK. JSN went 12 for 117, along of 24 on 16 targets. So we're talking about 14 plus 16. I'm trying to do math here. I'm sorry, guys. 30 targets between DK and JSN, and they just couldn't stop it. That's incredible. Tyler Lockett went 2 for 15. Now, he caught a nice one. Caught a Tyler Lockett pass. But DK and JSN ate that shit up. And Geno just played ball. But Jacoby Brissett went 15 for 27, 149, and a touchdown. 3 sacks for minus 24 yards. A QBR of 39.9. A rating of 83.7. Not good. Antonio Gibson, though, went 11 for 96 and a long of 45 on the ground. Ramondre went 21 carries for 81 yards and a long of 18 and a touchdown. Hunter Henry went 8 for 109 on 12 targets. They were really looking for Mr. Henry. The former Charger Pro Bowl tight end, they were looking for him a lot. And he got them all the third down conversions. All of them was all Hunter Henry. Jalen Polk caught 2 for 12 and a touchdown. So he's starting to show up in that offense. But that was it. 149 yards on passing. You had a Ramondre Stevenson fumble, but you had a Michael Onwenu recovery. The defense played pretty well. Kyle Duggar got 9 tackles and a sack. Keon White got a sack and a half. Danielle Ekuale got half a sack. No interceptions, so they didn't turn the ball over as they really should have or wanted to. Seattle didn't get no interceptions, but you know they held their people to. They held their the Leonard Williams got a sack and a half. Byron Murphy, the rookie, got his half a sack, so we're waiting for his first full sack, and then Boye Mafe got a sack. So both defenses played well, but I told you that the receiving core could not be stopped, even without K-Walk. So, Saints beat the Cowboys 44-19 at AT&T Stadium, Jerry World, where the Cowboys play. And, man, I said the Cowboys were going to win just because of, like, the defense. But I said I'm scared because of how the Arizona Cardinals were running the ball last week against them. And, boy, was I right. Alvin Kamara ran all over these boys. 20 carries, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, plus another one in the air. 4 touchdowns. This game was over at halftime. 11 for 16 for Derek Carr. Didn't really have to do much. 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. 1 sack for minus 1 yard. 99.4 QBR. 125 rating. Good job, Derek. 11 for 16, 243. Whew. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Rashid Shaheed caught a 70-yard bomb to get it started. 4 for 96 for 4 targets. Chris Olave went 4 for 81 on 6 targets. We still need the high yard numbers for Olave, but we're getting there. Two catches for 65 yards and a touchdown for Kamara. Anything they wanted, they got. They ran the ball for 190 yards on 39 carries, averaged 4.9 yards a carry. This offense, because it's Gary Kubiak's son, Clint Kubiak, they run the 49ers offense, the same offense the Vikings run, the same, it's the West Coast motion, zone gap scheme, and they couldn't do nothing with it. They were out-leveraged, outflanked on every single run. I mean, it was embarrassing. But I told you guys that all you have is CeeDee Lamb. Your whole offense is CeeDee Lamb and pray. Okay? CeeDee Lamb and pray. That's our whole offense. You have no running game. Dak Prescott, 27 for 39, 293. A touchdown, 2 picks, 3 sacks for minus 14 yards, 52.9 QBR, 78.3 rating. Rico Dowdle was your leading rusher, 30 yards, 7 carries, 30 yards. Ezekiel Elliott, 6 carries, 16 yards. You can't run the football. You ran the ball 21 times for 68 yards, 3.2 yards a carry. That is awful. Awful. CeeDee Lamb, 4 for 90 on 7 targets. Everybody else, Jalen Tolbert, 6 for 82 on 9. Luke Shoemaker, because Ferguson's hurt, 6 for 43 on 6 targets. Rico Dowdle, 4 for 29. 4 for 90 for CeeDee Lamb and a touchdown. That was it. That's all they could muster. 19 points. This Saints defense ate them up. The Saints offense ate them up. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. Their defense, 1 sack. Chauncey Golston. Michael Parsons was a non-factor. This is against the Saints. They're 2-0. Probably the best offense in the NFL right now. And they didn't have their best game. But their defense, Carl Granderson got a sack and a half. Chase Young got a half a sack. Brian Brisee, the rookie from Clemson, got a sack. I think his first one of his career. Alontae Taylor got 9 tackles. They picked him twice, Paulson Adebo and Tyrann Mathieu. This team's going to be good. I think this team's going to keep it rolling. Derek Carr's playing pretty well. And if they could keep running the ball like this, the Saints, man. The Saints, then maybe they don't have to fire the coach, Maybe they don't have to fire the coach. But the Cowboys. I know I said last week, after you won, I'll see you in January. Buddy, maybe not. Because, oh boy, you guys cannot run the ball. At all. I told you Ezekiel Elliott was not going to work. You got rid of Tony Pollard after paying him. I told you it wasn't going to work. He can't run. Nobody can run. Rico Dowdle can't run. Nobody can run. That offensive line is starting to get, starting to get old. Zach Martin starting to get caught. It's gonna be an interesting season for you Cowboys fans. Let me tell you. Giants Commanders. We thought the Commanders were going to win 21-18. Commanders won. No touchdowns. All field goals. Austin Seibert just got signed like a week and a half ago or a week ago. 7 field goals for the Commanders. Daniel Jones 16 for 28. 178, 2 touchdowns, 1 sack for 3 yards, 63.3 QBR, 100 rating. Devin Singletary, 16 for 99 yards and a touchdown, a long of 22. Malik Neighbors wakes up with his first 100-yard game as a pro. 10 receptions, 127 yards, and a touchdown on 18 targets. Nobody else got more than 4. 18 targets. That's what you're going to have to play. That's what you're going to have to play, because you gave 4 targets and only 3 catches to Darius Slayton, and you get 4 targets and two catches to Wan'Dale Robinson. Jalen Hyatt's not even on here. So I guess that's your game plan. Jason Pinnock got 2 sacks for them. Micah McFadden got a sack. Drew Phillips got a sack. Bobby Okereke got a sack. So they got 5 sacks. No picks, though. Devin Singletary lost a fumble. Crucial one, too. If we go to the Commanders, Jaden Daniels went 23 for 29. Efficient, 226 yards. 5 sacks for 16 yards. A QBR of 45.9. Rating of 99.1. Brian Robinson was 17 for 133 and a long of 40. So very nice running. Jaden Daniels ran the ball for 44 yards on 10 carries. Zach Ertz, their leading receiver, 4 for 64 on 4 targets. Noah Brown went 3 for 56. Austin Eckler, 3 for 47. Terry McLaurin on 8 targets went 6 for 22. This guy's a deep threat. What are we doing? Throw the ball down the field. Oh, Deebo Samuel just went down. That is not good for me, because I have him in one of my leagues. Man, he looked healthy, though. What the? Well, I guess not then. We're gonna get to there's a lot of injuries this week. You thought there were injuries last week. This week was insane. Jeremy Chin recovered a fumble for Washington. Frankie Louvu had 11 tackles. Kaleem Farrell had a sack. They had 1 sack as a team, but they pulled it out. Washington pulled it out. I think Jaden Daniels is going to keep figuring it out. He has to find Terry McLaurin. He has to. Because I don't understand how you have a number 1 receiver and you're not going to use him. Like, at all. Your number 1 and number 1 and number 2 receivers got 12 targets and caught 8 passes. De'Ami Brown and Terry McLaurin. I don't understand it. But shout out to the win. Buccaneers Lions. Buccaneers 20, Lions 16. Hey, this Buccaneers team is for real, man. 2-0. Baker Mayfield 12 for 19, 185. You're like, what? In Detroit? Yup. A touchdown and a pick. 5 sacks for 39 yards. Most of them, actually all of them by Aiden Hutchinson, which is insane that they lost this game. Deebo Samuel calf strain. He'll miss a few weeks. All right, the 49ers are actually hampered now. It's the Brandon Ayuk show. QBR 50.7, rating of 90.1. Baker Mayfield, 5 carries for 34 yards. Was their leading runner. Incredibly. Bucky Irving, 7 for 22. Rachaad White, 10 for 18. So they couldn't run the ball. They ran the ball for 70 yards on 23 carries. But Chris Godwin went with 7 catches for 117 yards and a TD on 8 targets. Mike Evans went 3 for 42, very pedestrian of him, on 6 targets. Jalen McMillan went 1 for 21 on 2 targets. Baker Mayfield fumbled the ball and recovered one as well. Justin School recovered one. Their defense, Jordan Whitehead had 11 tackles. Servosea Dennis had 11 tackles. Jamil Dean had 10 tackles. But they had 0 sacks as a team. They did have interception. Trishan Isian had an interception, and Zion McCollum had an interception. And that's what really hurt the Lions, the interceptions. Jared Goff, 34 of 55. He threw the ball 55 times for 307 yards. No sacks. 2 interceptions, no TDs, 36.1 QBR, 61.7 rating. Jahmyr Gibbs, 13 carries for 84 yards. David Montgomery, 11 for 35. Amon-Ra showed up, 11 for 19 on 19 targets. That's a shit ton. That's what Amon-Ra needed. But no touchdowns. Jamison Williams, 5 for 79, including a longish bomb. Actually, a longish bomb of 50 on 11 targets. So it's good that they're looking for him as a number 2, number 1 type of volume. Now, the guy who's getting kind of shunned out is Sam Laporta. He's 2 for 13 on 3 targets. Wonder what's happening there after a record-breaking rookie season. Jahmyr Gibbs got 7 for 22. Brian Branch got a pick. Aiden Hutchins got 4.5 sacks. Levi Onuwuzurike got half a sack, so there's the 5. Brian Branch got a pick. They didn't recover fumbles. How did they lose? Tampa Bay just outgritted them. And also, when it came into the red zone, that's what, Baker does his thing. Baker's playing really well. I'm not worried about the Lions. Tampa Bay is a pretty good team, I think. I think this year Tampa Bay is a really good a pretty good team. So I'm not worried about the Lions. I think they'll figure it out. They have to find Laporta more. They have to choose between who are they really going to give the ball to between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They can run the two halfback system, but there has to be a legit number 1 so they can figure out, third downs, what they want when they go empty and stuff like that. So I'm not worried about the Lions, but it is a surprising loss at home in your home opener. Very surprising. And shout out to the Bucs. The Packers beat the Colts. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. Malik Willis played better than he's ever played in his life. Anthony Richardson looks like I said in the preseason that he could not complete a normal 5-yard pass. We love the excitement. We love the attitude. We love the arm. We love the talent. But if you cannot put it together, it's not a value for anything. It's not going to get you anywhere. And that's what's happening, bro. Anthony Richardson, 17 for 34, 204, 3 picks and a touchdown, QBR of 28.7, a rating of 41.8. Jonathan Taylor went 12 for 103, so that's nice, getting him back on track. Alec Pierce went 5 for 56 and a touchdown on 7 targets. Jonathan Taylor went 2 for 32 on 4 targets. Adonai Mitchell went 1 for 30 on 4 targets. Michael is completely getting phased out of this offense. 3 for 21 on 7 targets. That's not good. Anthony Richardson loses recovers both fumbles that happened to him. Latu recovers a fumble. Jonathan Taylor fumbles the ball. Nick Cross got 15 tackles. EJ Speed got 11. Zaire Franklin got 10. Did they get any sacks? 0. No interceptions, no sacks. And what the Packers do? Malik Willis, 12 for 14. Not a lot. 122, a touchdown, no picks, a QBR of 82.4, a rating of 126.8. Josh Jacobs is who won this game. 32 carries, 151. That's the Josh Jacobs we saw 2 years ago in Las Vegas. That's the guy. Okay? Nick Willis ran the ball for 41 yards, 6 carries. Romeo Doubs had 3 for 62 on 3 targets. Dotavian Wicks caught a touchdown, 3 for 26 and a touchdown on 4 targets. Tucker Kraft, 2 for 16 on 2 targets. Jay Reed, 2 for 9 on 2 targets. So, there was 122 yards passing, receiving overall on 12 receptions. That was it. And the Packers won because their defense, even though Josh Jacobs lost a fumble, Jimmy Reed fumbled, Quay Walker got 6 tackles, John Bullard got 5 tackles, Isaiah McDuffie got 4 tackles, Xavier McKinney got a pick, Evan Williams got a pick, Eric Wilson got a pick. That's what won. They got one sack by Devontae Wyatt, the Georgia product. But it was the turnovers. Turnovers will kill you even if you have a better team. And I believe Indianapolis should win that game. But then again, I also believe that AR just couldn't complete a pass. I mean, sailing people 5 yards for no reason. I don't understand how you can throw a 60-yard bomb and be so pretty And in the next game, you can't complete a 5-yard out route. I don't understand. Another one of those quarterbacks that was in Florida, can run but can't throw. Cardinals beat the Rams 41-10 at the Rams in this. But I said it might be a shootout. Boy, it was a shootout. Yeah, one-sided. That's what it was. Shout out to Kyler. Shout out to Marvin Harrison Jr. 4 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns, finally showing that number 1 wide receiver elite talent. Tyler hit him on a crossing route, and then he also hit him on I believe a go route. He's gonna learn. He's gonna keep getting better. The first touchdown was incredible, over the top, just at the back edge of the end zone. Got the 2 feet down and controlled. The second one was more like runs into the end zone, lunging. Absolutely great. Kyler looks better than ever. He looks like the Kyler that we saw when he was at MVP talks. The Cardinals look really good. This offense is really good, especially with James Conner. The Rams, just Cooper Kupp down, Puka down, and it's looking like IR for everybody. It's looking like IR for Cooper Kupp. They play him on IR today. Puka went on IR 2 days ago. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what they do. Upcoming. This is going to be the Kyron Williams show. Tyler Johnson and Tutu Atwell. We'll see what McVay pulls out of his rabbit hat, but there's not much there. Blake Corum, Matthew Stafford went 19 for 27, 216, 5 for 24, 5 sacks, minus 24 yards. That's bad. 23 QBR, 94.1 rating. Blake Corum went 8 carries for 28 yards for the rookie out of Michigan. Kyron went 12 for 25. They couldn't run the ball. They ran the ball 20 times for 53 yards. They just ran in the wall. Demarcus Robinson was their leading receiver by 2 catches for 50 yards. Cooper Kupp, before he got hurt, 4 catches for 37 yards on six targets. Tutu Atwell, 3 for 48 on 4 targets. Yeah, just not good. Fumble by Matthew Stafford. He lost it. Braden Fitz recovered a fumble. They got 1 sack, and that was from Kobe Turner. No interceptions. And on the Arizona side, it was Kyler Murray, 17 for 21, 286, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 1 sack for 8 yards, 98.2 QBR, perfect 158.3 passer rating. James Conner, 21 for 122 and a touchdown. Absolutely dominant. Kyler runs for 5 carries for 59 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., 4 receptions, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, along of 60 on 8 targets. Trey McBride, 6 for 67 on 6 targets. So that's their 2 big boys. They got them going. You had a Clayton Tune with a fumble. But that was later in the game. James Conner fumbled. Trey McBride recovered a fumble. Buda Baker had 8 tackles and a beautiful goal line tackle as well. Kaiser White had 7 tackles. You had Chris Barnes with a sack. Zaven Collins with a sack. They had 5 sacks in total. So I'm looking at the other. Oh, and Dennis Gardeck, the Barbarian, with 3 sacks. But yeah, they dominated this game, man. It was nice to watch. It's nice to see the Cardinals being good again because Kyler's that good. And I think that if they can continue running this ball like this, I don't think anybody can stop Kyler. Steelers Broncos, we'll run through the rest really quick. Steelers won. We picked the Steelers. Defense basically won this game. Bo Nix was a fish out of water. Justin Fields went 13 for 20, 117 and a touchdown. Really nothing. Najee Harris went 17 for 69. Still couldn't run the ball. They ran the ball for 141 yards and 36 carries, but that's 3.9 yards a carry, so it gets you the first down, so I guess pretty good. Pat Freiermuth, only 4 receptions for 39 yards, was the leading receiver. 2 for 29 for George Pickens. They couldn't do much, just the defense just dominated. I think did TJ get TJ got a sack, and Alex Highsmith got a sack. You had 2 interceptions, one by Corey Trice and one by DeMonte Casey. And then for the Broncos, just Bo Nix, just facing that defense, just couldn't do nothing. 20 out of 35, 246, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks for 15 yards, 32.1 QBR, 55.2 rating. He was their leading rusher too, 4 for 25. Javonte got 11 for 17, so 1.5 yards a carry, absolutely nothing. Josh Reynolds was their leading receiver, 4 for 93. They had a chance to win the game, but Steelers did their thing defensively and shut that down. Little Jordan Humphrey on 4 for 50. The defense got 2 sacks. It was Jonah Ellis and Zach Allen. The Broncos they got to figure it out just with a young quarterback, so it's going to be a process for Sean to do this. The Steelers are 2-0. Who would have thought? I think Justin Fields will stay as the quarterback, but supposedly Russell Wilson will be good for this week, so we'll see what happens there. But it's literally TJ Watt and pray, guys. That is your. Actually, let me not just say it is defense and pray. That is what your offense. That is how you win games. Defense and pray. Bengals beat the Chiefs beat the Bengals 26-25 after a penalty. After a penalty on a 4th and 16, because on the 3rd and 16 play, or on the 3rd on the 3rd and 6 play, the rookie Kingsley Samatea, the rookie left tackle for the Chiefs, gets inside, illegal hands to the face after a beautiful pass from a beautiful play from Mahomes to get down the field to try to go get a field goal. So on 4th and 16, Mahomes escapes the pocket again, throws the ball to Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice about to jump and get it. Boom, gets hit in the back before the ball gets there. 15-yard penalty, pass interference. Give it to Harrison Buckner. 51-yard field goal, and the Chiefs win. It wasn't pretty. Isaiah Pacheco's lost on IR with a fibula injury. We'll see how bad it is. It still hasn't come out how exactly bad it is, but they fear that it is fractured, so that's going to take him out for a minute. Not season ending, but pretty bad. Joe Burrow played pretty well, 23 for 36, 258, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 3 sacks for 12 yards, 65.9 rate QBR, 103.7 rating. Zach Moss went 12 for 30. They couldn't run the ball. 22 carries for 74 yards. They just couldn't run the ball. They looked explosive though. Mike Gesicki got 7 for 91. They threw to the tight ends more. Jermaine Burton caught 1 for 47 on 2 targets. Jamar Chase went 4 for 35 on 5 targets. So they still have to wake up Jamar. Jamar had a bad unsportsmanlike conduct penalty because he yelled at the ref, thinking that he got a face mask when he didn't, by McDuffie. Joe Burrow loses a fumble. He fumbles twice. He loses one. Drew Sample fumbles. Their defense played pretty well. They caught 2 sacks. Hendrickson got both of them. He was all over. They also got Akeem Davis Gaither with an interception, and then Cam Taylor-Britt, one of the best interceptions you'll ever see, one-on-one against Xavier Worthy down the sideline, stride for stride, one-handed, just snagged it. Beep, just like Grimes and Dolphins, or even Odell Beckham versus the Cowboys. That type of pick was nice. But the Kansas City, they find a way. Patrick Mahomes, not his best day, 18 for 25, 151, a touchdown, a pick, 2 sacks for 14 yards, 30.6 QBR, a rating of 80.6. Isaiah Pacheco, 19 for 90, but then he got hurt. So it was running, and the running game was working. Rashee Rice, 5 for 75 on 6 targets and a touchdown, along with 44. And then Justin Watson, 2 for 22. Isaiah Pacheco, 5 for 21. Xavier Worthy, 2 for 17. So they're going to, and then Travis Kelce, 1 for 5 on 3 targets. Like, we got to wake up Travis Kelce now that Pacheco is not going to be there for a while. Carson Steele, the rookie, he fumbled and lost the team, but this defense, Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil, Justin Reed, Leo Chenal, Mike Dana gets half a sack. George Karlaftis gets half a sack. Tershawn Wharton gets half a sack. Chris Jones gets half a sack. They get 3 sacks. They play well, and they survive at home, 2-0. It's the Chiefs. And then finally, Texans beat the Bears 19-13. And, just C.J. Stroud being C.J. Stroud. Caleb Williams goes 23 for 37, 174. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 7 sacks for minus 40 yards. Can't do that. 21.4 QBR, a rating of 51. He ran the ball. He was the leading rusher, 5 for 44. DeAndre Swift went 14 for 18 yards, 1.3 yards a carry. They could not run at all against that defense. DJ Moore went 6 for 53 on 10 targets. Rome Odunze went 2 for 33 on 5 targets. Keenan Allen was ruled out of this game with I believe a hamstring or calf, something like that. And they just couldn't do anything. They received 774 yards on 23 catches. Kevin Byard recovered a fumble. Their defense, got a sack. Tremaine Edmonds got a sack. Jack Sanborn got a sack. Javon Dexter Jr. Senior got a sack. But to no avail, man. The Texans, C.J. Stroud went 23 for 36 for 260, so not all that. 1 touchdown, 3 sacks for minus 25 yards, 57.7 QBR, 94.7 rating. Cam Akers, 7 for 32. They couldn't run the ball either. Joe Mixon went 9 for 25, so they just couldn't run the ball against this defense. Nico Collins went 8 catches for 135 yards and a touchdown, just dominated, just bulldozing. Stephon Diggs, 4 for 37 on 6 targets. Joe Mixon, 3 for 25 on 5 targets. Dalton Schultz, 2 for 21 on 3 targets. Tank Dell, 1 on 4 targets, 1 for minus 3 yards. Can't do that to Tank Dell. Can't do that. But their defense, To'o got a sack. Daniel Hunter got a sack and a half. Will Anderson got a sack and a half. Mario Edwards got a sack. Derek Barnett got a sack. They got 7 sacks in total this game. Kamari Lassiter got an interception. So did Derek Stingley on a nice play. So they're rolling, guys. I told you this Texas team's going to be good. That Bears team is 1-1 now. Caleb got to figure it out. Got to start running the ball more consistently. But, yeah, so Falcons, Eagles, this is going to be very simple. I'm going to go Eagles here. I don't think Kirk, especially against that front, I don't think he's going to have enough time to pass the ball. I don't think Bijan will have a lot of running room between the tackles versus Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. But Kirk can prove me wrong. He can pass to Kyle Pitts. He can pass to Drake London. We'll see. They also have Darnell Mooney. That defense is going to be surprising to see again. Interesting to see against that Eagles really good offensive line. We'll see what Judon does. Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons. That's going to be very interesting to see, but I believe that the Eagles have too much with Saquon. AJ's out, so a Devontae Smith game, and Dallas Goedert. But I believe that the Eagles just have too much. They're at home. Jalen Hurts has a nice game, and the Eagles win this game. All right, guys, that's all I have. I'll talk baseball on Thursday. All I say is Chris Sale is a monster. Aaron Judge has 53 home runs. Ohtani's going to hit 50-50. And the Tigers might make the playoffs. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But I love you guys. Thank you guys for always joining me and supporting. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on all my socials. God bless you guys. And I leave you with the outro.